The international break is over and the town return to action on Saturday lunchtime when they take a trip to London to the New Den to face Millwall alongside me to preview the game and what we hope will be a big Luton sporting weekend. I've got the Lutonian journalist James Cunliffe and special guest boxer Linus Udofia. Gents, are we ready to get back to some normal football?
Yes, I'm sick of the international break. I do not care about international football at all.
Whatever he says.
Absolutely. Yeah, we will preview the game and a big fight straight after this intro.
For me, it's the people and the spirit of the people as well.
I love this town. I love this town. I love this town. You know what I love about this town is actually you. Everyone in it has got this massive soul.
We're Luton people, and that's what we care about.
Hello everyone, welcome along to another episode of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast, the longest running Luton Town podcast, sponsored this season by Solid, providing opportunities, provisions and assistance so our academy can fulfil their potential. As I said in the intro, or before the intro rather, we are previewing Millwall against Luton Town, 12:30 kickoff Saturday afternoon. If you've not got a ticket to the game, Sky Sports Football is the place to watch this one. It's on the main Sky Sports channel for that. As I also said, I've got the Lutonian journalist James Cunliffe and boxer Linus Udofia alongside me, and we're going to look ahead to the Millwall game and Linus's fight on Saturday. But before we do, Linus, the season so far, we've had 4 games, not really gone to plan, but what have you made of the 4 games so far, mate?
Yeah, it's been disappointing. 1 point in 4 games. It's not been the greatest start. I'm not panicking yet. A lot of people are. I'm not panicking yet. We've still got a lot of injuries. We've still got people coming back. In the same breath, you know, we got some new players coming through. We got what's his name? Is it Zach Nelson?
Nelson, yep.
Nelson, yeah, we got Zach Nelson. We've got some players coming in. Remember, look at our squad. There's still a lot of players missing from that squad. I'm not too worried until everyone kind of gets back, or you know, I'm not really worried till everyone gets back and everyone starts gelling together as well. I think I spoke to some people, a couple of players, and some of the people around the board, and they said the players should be back. Some of the players should be back in like 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm not too worried. I think obviously we all want to get points on the board and things like that. It's easy to overreact and be like, oh my God, we're not starting great in the championship. You know, it's not that deep. I think wait till Christmas. It's not that deep.
No, I agree with you. And we are relentlessly crap starters to a season. We never seem to start a season well. I don't know why, but that's how it is. We kind of covered that on the last podcast. I should just say thanks to everyone who got in touch regarding that last podcast. We got some really good comments for that, and we're kind of glad that we gave you some balanced reflection on the first month of the season. And really appreciate all of your comments. Just a couple of things to pick out. There were a couple of comments that said that we shouldn't dampen expectations. We are not doing that. We still fully expect Luton to go really, really well this season. We're just pointing out that it's only 4 games. It's a 46-game season. Don't change your minds on anything just over 4 games. Hold our nerve, and we'll do this over the course and distance. That's for sure. Before we touch on the game, let's just touch on a few things during the international break. First and foremost, well, the FA haven't been into the studio because the flag is still untouched. There's no tying up of the flag here. I'll come to you, James, as you was at the under-21 game. I mean, outrageous, really.
You know, as Luton fans, we know that's almost sacrosanct, that flag, and what it means to everybody, really, what it should always mean to people. And to see it rolled up was frustrating, but then to understand how it happened, it's not really good enough, is it? Really, and you know, you in the trust have called for an apology from the FA for it, and I've contacted the FA for comment, and they've not got back to me. So I mean, that sort of speaks volumes, really. It's you know, we should probably give the people the background if they haven't heard of what happened. So the flag got rolled up the bottom that you will be able to see sometimes behind us in the set. It says betrayed by the FA in 2008. If you know your history, that is accurate. That's been hanging in the corner of the main stand, Kenilworth Road, since 2009. And it was there all throughout the Premier League season, broadcast across the world. Everybody saw it. It was much photographed and put on social media and everything like that. And then England under-21 come to Luton Town, Kenilworth Road for the first time in 31 years. They asked if they could take this flag down. Luton rejected it. And then on the day, someone demanded of a member of staff that was unknowing to roll up the offending words, offending on the FA's part, not on Luton's part. And that that member of staff didn't know the implications of all that. You can't really pin that on them. We're talking ground staff, aren't we? And not all ground staff are Luton fans. Not all ground staff are there because they're football fans and know the implications. I don't know who did it, but that would probably be the likely scenario. And there it was rolled up until somebody unrolled it, and then it got rolled back up again. So it's just not on. You can't do that. And I think the call for an apology is one thing, but also the call for, if you're going to go and hire other people's grounds, don't mess with their stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. You wouldn't go into someone's house and all of a sudden start moving everything around. So, I mean, there's people saying, why did Luton lease the ground out? Well, they leased the ground out on the basis that that flag would be untouched. And if that wasn't agreed to, they simply wouldn't have allowed the venue hire to go through, and the game would have been played somewhere else. And
but if you take the flag situation out of it, I was there, and it was full of young people. Maybe they don't go to Luton games very often. Maybe they've never been to Kenilworth Road before. The atmosphere inside that ground was absolutely fantastic for only 5,000 and change in the ground. There was lots of young people. It was almost like a pop concert. There were girls screaming at players and stuff, and boys just so excited. They were running up and down the terraces and stuff to get a better look. And when the players came over at the end, it was a big huddle. It was a great atmosphere. And that's that. If you shouldn't overlook the flag thing because it's very important. But that's why Luton got the game there. It's a good thing for the community, a good thing for the football club.
Yep. Hopefully there'll be more games of that nature at Kenilworth Road with the flag left untouched in the future, and hopefully we get the apology from the FA that we have demanded. I'm not holding my breath, has to be said. News the day after that England under-21 game, which could have been lost in amongst all of the furore with the flag. Victor Moses has been signed. Linus, what did you make of that? We think, James and I, we think he's the first Premier League winner to play for Luton Town. So that's quite an achievement on his part. We can't think of any others. I've requested anything from Simon, who knows absolutely everything about everything. He can't think of anyone. If anyone out there can think of another Premier League winner, as in having won the Premier League by the time he's come to Luton, not gone the other way around, let us know. But we can't think of another one. So it's kudos to the club that we can attract Premier League and Champions League winner in the form of Victor Moses.
Yeah, I think fantastic signing, to be honest. What he says, he's only 33.
33,
yeah. So he's, I don't know how much he has left, but we said the same thing about another certain Ross Barkley, didn't we? We said, we don't know what we're doing here. It's kind of a big risk, but I think the club are really good at recruitment, and I think this is another shrewd business. It's another shrewd business deal. Even let's not forget Andros Townsend as well. When he played, he did really well for us. He might not have translated in goals and assists and things like that, but he came on and he added a lot of flair. Ross Barkley, we all know what he did. We don't really need to say too much about that. But I think I'm really excited about Victor Moses. When I saw that, I was like, Victor Moses? Go on, man. Yeah, I love a bit of that. And I didn't really look into it too much. I think I was just too excited about the actual signing. I didn't actually look into the price, if we got it for free or not, or if it was another undisclosed fee. But it was really good. It's a really good signing. I think, I don't want to jinx it, but I think it's gonna do well. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he'll tear everything up. I think he'll add massively. Yeah, I'd
agree with that. Free transfer, like you say. Left Spartak Moscow in the summer. Spartak Moscow, I mean, reputable name out in Russia. What do you make of it, Jimbo? I mean, just on experience alone, a geezer who can win the Premier League, who can win the Champions League and win everything else that he won at Chelsea. He's gone out on loan to Liverpool, gone here, there and everywhere. He's got however many caps he's got for Nigeria, well over 30 caps for Nigeria. Played in Africa Cup of Nations, played in, you name it, he's played in it. We got him for nothing. If if we're assuming that he's the direct replacement for Chio, we've made 8 million out of the deal supposedly, and we've got ourselves a player who can't be any worse. Got to have a better end product at the end of the day, at least. It all sounds positive to me.
Yeah, won the Africa Cup of Nations as well with Nigeria, so he's won a lot of trophies in his time. And I always think back to when he was so very highly rated as a youngster coming through at Crystal Palace, and obviously went to Chelsea for big money, and sort of sometimes played well and was a bit inconsistent, then got sent out on various loans. But he's, undoubted quality that he's got there totally came out of the blue for everyone, didn't it? Which is good. I'm okay with that. And it was kind of the Ross Barkley signing of this season, wasn't it? Because nobody knew it was coming, and you bring him in for free. And yeah, he's got a lot to prove. I think still he wants to come back to England. He's been away for like 3 or 4 years out of the country, and as a replacement for Chio, which I see him as he would be, then it's great business that. And suddenly there's a lot more balance now to that side, isn't it?
There is, yep. In the sort of announcement, Rob Edwards says that he can play left side, right side, and even as a number 10. Stop teasing me with this formation change, Rob, please, and just go with it. Go with it. Don't tease me with that. But yeah, no, a geezer who can play literally anywhere on the football pitch apart from centre back and in goal, and you wouldn't want him there anyway. So can't be anything but a positive signing. We're not expecting him to feature from the start at the very least on Saturday. We think he's going to have to build up a little bit of match fitness, having not had pre-season, although he has been training with the players from what I'm led to believe the better part of 2 weeks. So training wise he'll be up to it, just needs a few more behind closed doors games probably, just to get himself, but you would imagine he'll be on the bench 15-20 minutes sort of thing when we can get it into him. But really exciting signing, and also kind of makes up for it come about that we tried to sign Kwame Poku from Peterborough on deadline day. Obviously they weren't going to sell that close to the mark unless it was a stupid offer, which we don't offer. So kind of made up for missing him. Also made up for the fact that we didn't get Kamara as well. He decided Hull was better than Luton. I mean, Christ, what he's doing there, I don't know. But either way, we've got our man. We've got that side field now, and we can move on and look forward to the rest of the season, which starts on Saturday afternoon at Millwall. We have had 4 away games against teams that we have an absolute shocking record against. And Millwall are joining the club as well, because it's 1 win in 13 against Millwall in all competitions for Luton. However, it should also be said Millwall haven't beat Luton in the last 5, so we're turning the corner in that regard. I think happiest memories in this fixture is a couple of times ago down there when Harry Cornick got a brace. Jordan Clark set him up for a couple of goals, and that all went well. Hopefully Jordan Clark can set up someone for a couple of goals on Saturday, and we can all look forward to it. But Millwall got their first win before the international break, home to Sheffield Wednesday, who, it has to be said, have fallen off a cliff since they beat Plymouth, who themselves isn't exactly a form guide. So what are we expecting on Saturday, Jimbo? It's a game that you'd like to think that Luton can win, based on the fact that we were Premier League last season. We have been top of the Championship the season before. Millwall were struggling last season. They went through managers at a silly rate. But they're going to throw balls in the box. Can we deal with it?
Well, that's the $1 million question, is it, with this defence? My own experiences of going to the Den have rarely been enjoyable. I think, in fact, my best memory of going to the Den is seeing Mike from the Luton News with a shocking Boxing Day, New Year's Day hangover that he struggled to get in with. And I think that's saying something, isn't it, about when we go to Millwall. They've traditionally been a very physical side that Luton have struggled to deal with, apart from that one game that you mentioned, really. And I don't see that it's going to be any different from that. They're going to be very, very competitive, and I think every club's going to sort of smell blood at the moment, and they could. Luton have not got the win yet, and we'll see it as a big-ish scalp to take. There's always rivalry between Millwall and Luton anyway. We'd have to go into the blooming history of it. It's a lot more good-natured now, but there'll be a little bit of needle in the game as well. So it's a really, really tough game. After we lost the QPR one, I was thinking that one of the last places you really want to go is to the Den to try and get a result, try and get a first win anyway, to ease the pressure. And it's going to be a really tense one, I think.
Yeah, if you always wonder why this fixture seems to always land itself on Sky, is that historical context to it. 40 years ago, Sky, we don't need to go back there anymore. Linus, what do you sort of make of Millwall? They're, as I said just a minute ago, they've only won one game this season, so they're not in a great deal better shape than what we are. Seem to be quite a direct side. They seem to be the sort of side that you'd like to think that the footballers in our side can outplay. Just whether we can defend better than we did against QPR.
Yeah, I think it's one of those games. I don't mean to make you two sound like pessimistic about it, but I don't know. I feel like I'm a bit more optimistic. I feel like we're a better football inside than them, but they're just that gritty Championship side that you could be playing well for 89 minutes and then just get that corner header in, don't you know what I mean? And then that's it, they've beaten you. And I feel like how we play, we've had the break, we've had a little bit of rejuvenation time, some more players have come in and hopefully they've all gelled, some international breaks. People have just taken time, and then we've had another couple of weeks of, injuries to subside. And I hope we can just get back to good form because we play good football. But, we've been lacking at the back. And I just feel like with a team like Millwall, they're a direct physical side. However, we're a better football inside. And our record doesn't show that right now, but neither does theirs. Theirs doesn't. They're not superior to us. I think we can get a result out of it if we play the football. I know we can, but it's if we show up like we did against Burnley, I don't think we come away from the Den with points, if I'm honest.
No, that is definitely not the fixture that we want to replicate. I seriously think if we play how we did, certainly at Preston, certainly for the first hour against QPR, there's nothing that we can't get out of this game. We just got to stick ball in the back of the net now.
With Preston.
Yeah, we played all right for it. We played
about 30 minutes.
Yeah, we played all right at Preston. We created chances at will at Preston. They just didn't go in the back of the net.
We had a man down as well.
Yeah, we
didn't lose.
Portsmouth as well for the first half hour. Some of the football Luton have played is fine. It's just not gone in the back of the net. And now that's the thing. Over these last 2 weeks, and if you've seen the training video that the club have put out, they're banging them in from here, there and everywhere. They're scoring from so far. They're the other side of Venue 360 by the time they're putting them in. Do you know what I mean? But no matter in the training pitch, now we've got to do it on a Saturday afternoon. And if we do add that final bit to our game, we're going to go on a run because the football itself is fine. And even if the defence doesn't stand up to this physical test that it's going to get, and it's going to get a lot of balls in the box, there shouldn't be, based on the output of goals last season in the Premier League, there shouldn't be too many times this season that we can't score 2 or 3 goals when we get some confidence and start scoring. But talk is cheap, we've got to go out and do it. But I still think if Saturday's the game that we do that, that will be fine. Just pick out a few sort of threats for you to look out for in the Millwall side. Before we do, we should just say, obviously, Millwall, some of their poor start to the season might be down to the loss of their goalkeeper in the summer, Matthias Sarkic, who shockingly really died of a sudden heart failure in the summer whilst he was on international duty with Montenegro. So, we shouldn't be too critical of them starting out the season if they're still having to come to terms with that. Obviously, they've had to replace him in goal and everything that goes with it. So our sort of hearts and thoughts and everyone with his family for a really, really shocking time.
Yeah, well, we've had it with Tom Lock, isn't it? You know how much it sort of knocks the entirety of a club when something like that happens. So,
or picks up or really turns the boys around. Because after that Lockyer thing happened, don't get me wrong, we didn't survive the Prem, but you saw a shake-up in the club. You saw a togetherness that we've always had, but we've seen it now exacerbated from what happened. It was tragic what happened, but there was some goodness that came out of it.
There was, yeah, sure, that when it got to the January period and everything started firing, we spoke about this many times on the podcast, that had it not been for the injuries, at that point it looked like we've cracked this and we know what we're gonna stay up. But it didn't work out that way. But I didn't want to come across too pessimistic there. I was just more that it's I think everybody's going to have the nerves of it, aren't they? And it is a relatively local rival for Luton, it being a London trip. So I think there's going to be sort of an air of nervousness on it. But if you look at the way Luton have played and the chances they've created, and I know not a lot of people want to think about that or acknowledge it, but even in the game against QPR, he created that great chance where Elijah got through and didn't score. And, I've seen him score about 5 of those in that video that they put out today on social media. So hopefully things do turn according that way.
Yeah, that's what I say. I mean, on the sort of subject of Elijah, he's 7 shots on target this season. There's only one player in the Championship that's got more. Just on a law of averages, if he keeps having 7 shots on target in 4 games, he's going to start scoring, because the bloke wouldn't be a Championship footballer if he didn't, and he wouldn't have scored double figures in the Premier League if he didn't. So those goals are going to come. It just so happens that we've had a 4-game period and a month where it hasn't happened, and it hasn't happened at a time when no one else has scored. If someone else had scored, that Elijah miss would have been irrelevant. If someone else had made it 2-0, we're not even talking about it. It's just the way of the world at the minute and the way it's going for us and things like that. Just to sort of put a basis of where Elijah is on that, 7 shots on target. The most that Millwall have had in an individual player is Duncan Watmore, 6 shots on target. So they're not creating a great deal more than what we are. Just so happens that in one game in particular, they've put the ball in the back of the net more times than what we've done. But that was against Sheffield Wednesday. And who knows, when we preview that next week, we might be looking at a game whereby we're going to score some goals against Sheffield Wednesday too. The chief threat, though, at Millwall looks to be George Honeyman. He's done the rounds. I remember him at Sunderland when we've come up against him as we were going through the leagues. I think he was at Hull as well a couple of seasons ago. Along with Alfie Doughty, he's got something like the joint 3rd most key passes in the league. I don't know what a key pass is, but sounds good, doesn't it? I mean,
It's just a pass that
looks good.
threatening. It's a threatening pass. I think this is what it is. Same thing as a progressive pass. I think it's something that creates a chance. I think that's all that is.
Yeah, so we kind of need to keep him quiet. Similar to, who did we pick out that we had to keep quiet? Marlon Pack at Portsmouth, and we did keep him quiet. He was kind of irrelevant in the game. So if we can keep him out, then really Millwall are looking at set pieces, aren't they? And Jake Cooper is probably their threat from corners. He scored against Sheffield Wednesday last time out. But you'd like to think that with McGuinness there, with Mengi there, with Elijah there, we've got enough height to deal with this. Just got to go and win the ball and nod it out.
The key thing for me is going to be who's in midfield, who's available.
Well, we're going to come on to that in a minute, actually. Yeah, let's come on to it now then, because obviously Shandon Baptiste and Jordan Clark have been the central midfield 2 for all of the league games so far this season, apart from the first one where Jordan Clark had that injury right on the lead up to it. For the Burnley game, Zach Nelson played in the centre of the park. Kudos to Zach, actually. Made his England under-20 debut during the international break, and we should, acknowledge that, because that's a fantastic achievement for the young man. But we're probably not expecting to see Shandon Baptiste and Clark here, are we? Because we've been told that Tom Krauss was due to be back for the Millwall game, so that would be here. Marvelous Nakamba had 45 minutes against QPR. We understand there was a behind closed doors game during the international break, of which many players played. We don't actually have the details of exactly who, but if Marvelous played in it, we would want Marvelous back in the team as soon as possible, and it would be great to have him at Millwall, wouldn't it?
Yeah, as long as he's back to full fitness, there's no point. Obviously, the boys know what they're doing, so anything I'm saying probably doesn't even mean anything. But as long as they don't rush him back in and then something goes wrong and now he's out for another 6 weeks to have him many months. But I think depth wise, when you said all these players, I completely forgot about players like Krauss and things like that. But we've got Nakamba, even Nelson just to fill in, Shandon to rotate and things like that, and Clicker. It's actually quite deep. It's actually quite got a lot of depth and creativity as well. So it'd be good to see a lot of players. Just, do you know what? I don't really want to see any players that are in good form rested, because it's not time to pick up points. But we could do with going out there and making a statement. Do you know what I mean? We can do going out there and just attacking this team head on. And it's, I understand getting some key players in and things like that, but the players that are in form at the minute should be playing, should be starting and getting the minutes.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah. How do you see the midfield? First of all, I keep on asking you every single time we preview a game, are we going to change this bloody formation? Can we go to 4 at the back? Is this the game? Presumably, if Marvelous is back, it is, or it could be the game. Yeah, again, in the international break, Rob has hinted that we're going to play a number 10. We can't play a number 10 with this 5 at the back malarkey. So, although we're playing 2 sort of off the striker at the minute, aren't we? Do you see this as the game that we're going to change formation?
Well, I would hope so. I've seen it as they've done the 5 at the back because of the personnel situation. And when, Linus says there, the amount of players that have got to come back, I mean, we've said this, but people don't want to hear it until the players are back. But when you've got that full squad, defensive-wise and midfield-wise, that's a really strong Luton side to pick from. And some players are going to have to miss out, whereas we've gone for probably the whole of 2024. Just whoever's available, chuck them in. And, you know, what happened. But all along this season, from the minute I went up to the training ground and spoke to Rob Edwards in pre-season, he said they're going to get stronger, and after the international break, up to that point, which is not to say they weren't trying to win, obviously, and it hasn't happened, but that was the reality, the players that were going to come back. And I was at the England under-21 game on Monday, and I went downstairs for a pie at half-time, and I walked past Jacob Brown, and I half heard him say he might be back. I'm pretty sure, I don't want to preempt it or anything, that's not an official word. It was just an overheard conversation. He could have been talking about something else. But if he's back as well, what a side that is.
It's an officially unofficial exclusive here on the podcast that Jacob Brown might or might not be back. We'll find out when the team news is out on Saturday. My word, if we get him back as well, because he'll be like a new signing, wouldn't he? It's been so long since we've had him, and he had such an impact in those first 3 months in the Premier League, Linus, that you kind of thought that he was going to carry us to safety last season. And then that injury came, and then everyone else followed, and it was just like, But if we can get him back as a new signing, although he isn't a new signing, he's just going to feel like one.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Jacob Brown's a top player, very top player. And you see it. You see how he played in certain games. He just has that flair. He just has a lot of flair. And do you know what it is? He's not, he wasn't going to be, in my opinion, I didn't think he was going to be the man that was going to lead us to, staying up and things like that. But I think he added to the depth we have for competition. Like, he made Elijah play better, Woodrow, and Morris. You know what I mean? He made all of them everyone just competed to just do better for the team. And you could see it, Andros Townsend come on and just gave everything. You know what I mean? There's a lot of competition for each other's playing times. And it will be good to have him back, because as soon as, the two boys up top that aren't firing right now, that they're going, when he comes back, they're going to be like, well, I don't really want to lose my spot. I kind of want to help the team out. I'm going to do this. I don't really want to lose it to him. As good as he is, I don't really want to lose it to him. So I think it will fire up the competition.
And the only way you stay in the team when everyone's back, and we've got 4 or 5 strikers there, got to score a goal. You don't score a goal, you leave the door open.
Or make them.
Or make, goal contributions, absolutely, yeah. If you don't do it, you leave the door open. We've got players that are going to come in there and do it. And that's exactly what happened last season. Morris was rested. Elijah took his chance. Morris couldn't get back in, and then finally he scored that goal against Burnley, didn't he? And never looked back. And competition. It's what we've not had for so long, and it's what we're so looking forward to seeing in the Luton squad.
I think also on the Jacob Brown situation, I think people really may have forgotten, because it's been such a long time, really underestimate how much he leads the press when he's in the team.
Oh man,
he is a relentless runner. And when things started clicking before he got that injury, the Premier League defence hated playing against Luton because they wouldn't leave him alone. And sometimes they do get left quite alone just to knock balls around the back of the defence before trying to pick a path somewhere.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a shameful thing to say with a professional boxer alongside me, but he tired me out just watching him. So, what he does to opposition defenders, I mean, if we got Jacob Brown, he's not going to start, but if we got him on the bench, it's just another option. Like Linus said, if it just fires the strikers into, oh Christ, I've got to score here, otherwise I'm not going to do the 90 minutes, then that's exactly what we're looking for. Just on the front two, Linus, are you at the point yet where you're dropping Morris or Adebayo, or are you saying to him, look, you're our best two, just go and prove it and get the ball in the back of the net?
I'd never, I don't think dropping any one of them is a good choice at the minute. What I do think, the only thing I do think is, I think Joe Taylor has to get a legit shot. Has to. I don't know. Is his loan been completed and he's gone on loan?
No, he's here now for
till at least January.
At least till January. Yeah, he is here because he was going to go to Huddersfield, but then they couldn't get a attacker deal done, so that he's staying. And then he got that 15 minutes against QPR, obviously, and he had that one chance. But
yeah. I just like to see more of him. I just really like to see more of him. Just again for competition as well. Just for competition because everyone's raving about him. You know what I mean? He's good player. He does good numbers. The last time I actually saw him play for Luton was in the final of the playoffs. That's the last time I physically saw him play. But yeah, he really impressed me then. And he only played for 10 minutes. He really impressed me then. I saw his highlights from the from his loan spell, and yeah, I just thought, just give him a chance because he's gonna want to take that top spot. He knows the top boys. You know, when it's not Elijah up there, it's gonna be Morris. Morris is captain most of the time as well. So he knows his chances. He needs to take it when he gets it. So it's gonna fire up competition. If one game, just start Joe as instead of one of them, the other one of them, and just see how that goes and see how if that fires up any of them.
Yeah, we've been criticised for the way we've talked him down a little bit this season. We've not really meant to do that. We just simply didn't see a situation by where he can get regular game time. However, Saturday might be the one because there's no point in lumping long balls forward because Millwall's back 3, back 2 or whatever it is going to be all over Elijah, all over Morris. So all of a sudden, this might be the one where we get a bit of pace on that front line. They're probably going to defend a little bit further up the pitch as well because they're at home. So maybe we can get him in behind. Maybe this is the one where he comes off the bench after an hour and has that impact that everyone's so desperate for him to have. Because obviously if we're ahead, he might well do that anyway because games are going to start to come thick and fast soon, so we're going to have to rotate the players anyway. But you know, I just don't see us get. Usually, our modus operandi is getting down to Alfie, getting a ball across, and one of them nodding it in. Well, you've got to think that the way that Millwall's set up and the way that they're structured defensively, we're not going to get a great deal of joy in that way. So maybe this is the one that Taylor can have that impact in.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I don't think we have talked down.
We've just been realistic about his chances, haven't we?
That's the thing. I think you gave a very good analysis of where Joe Taylor is best served, and that's running off the shoulder and in behind. And if most of the Championship sides aren't going to allow that space for Luton, then his main skill set is thwarted, really. And I think that's a fair analysis. But what he's got to do is take the chances, which he will now be able to get. It will probably be off the bench, let's be honest. And he's got to take the chances, which he didn't do against QPR. But if he gets longer, maybe 20 minutes, maybe half an hour, then he gets that one chance, gets up and running. He's not scored a senior goal for Luton yet. And that's, a thing that's a little monkey in the back, isn't it? Once that's off, then in the same way Elijah is a confidence player, he might score some more. So, yeah, it could be now that he gets that chance. And I want him to do well. It's not I don't want him not to do well. Well, you even said if he does go, which we thought he was going to be going in the window, that he'll score a hat load for whoever he's playing for. Now it's Luton, so why not Luton?
Well, we have to find a way now to get him involved, don't we? Because generally, I think in pre-season everyone thought he's going to go. There was all the talk that he was going to go. So maybe Rob kind of not favoured the ones that were going to stay, but obviously gave more minutes to the ones that were going to stay because, you're just helping out another club if he then disappears and kind of doing ourselves a disservice. But now that he's here till at least January, you're cutting off your nose to spite your face if you don't get him involved now. And now it's up to Joe Taylor to show that he's as good as everyone hopes and thinks that he is. And when chances like the one against QPR come along, stick it in the back of the net, and then you can go and knock on Rob's door then and say, listen, they're not scoring. I've just come on and earned you a point. Why am I not getting longer game time? At the minute, he's always going to favour Morris and Adebayo because they've just done it in the Premier League. But there will be a time if they don't start scoring, like you say, with competition and things, and if Joe Taylor comes off the bench and does start scoring or impacting the games, that Rob, he can legitimately then go into Rob's office and say, well, where's my starts?
There is precedent as well. It's not to say that Morris and Elijah are undroppable because Elijah missed that absolute sitter against Spurs last season. He was out for 2 or 3 games and then he came back stronger. And he also, after that game, gave a very honest interview to me. And he's very good on camera and in interviews like that. He went away, worked on it, came back and had an absolute fantastic spell after that. So I wouldn't say that those two are undroppable, but at the moment, with 15 minutes under his belt this season, you're not going to probably start Joe Taylor. But that's not to say that if it isn't going so well, and I think everybody agrees, sometimes the substitutions need to be a bit earlier.
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely. Yeah, and also if we're ahead in a game and we want to rest players, then that's the ideal time to do it. This championship, we keep saying it's an absolute slog. We've kind of been friendly with the fixtures so far that they've only been at weekends, but midweek games are fast approaching, so we're going to have to start chopping and changing and things. That's what we think about the Millwall game. The only thing to finish off with regards to this game, as always, is score prediction. We did say last time we did the podcast that we're going to change to 1 point for the result, 3 points for the correct score. Still don't think it's going to make a great deal of difference, but you never know. So, James, you can start. How does Millwall v Luton Town finish?
I think I'm going to go cagey, unfortunately, but I think it'll be 1-1. Yeah, I think that we want the win, obviously, but if they play really well and get a point, it's not really a start necessarily, but it's not the worst result going down to Den. It's a really hard place to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we had got a few results on the board, you'd have took a point all day long in this fixture. That's just the kind of way it is. But, you know, everyone's just so desperate to get that win. Linus, is that win coming on Saturday?
I can't. I'm gonna have to agree with James. I think I was gonna say 1-1 as well. I just the form, you know, it speaks for itself. I think if we don't start getting some goals, it's just not gonna look good. It's not gonna look good. And yeah, I just think that game will get something. I think we'll get something. I don't think it'll be a win, but we'll get something.
Fair enough. Yep. 4 draws in the last 5 games between Luton and Millwall. 1-1 has been a popular score in those, annoyingly. But no, I'm still not doing it. I'm still believing with the boys. I am going for a Luton win here. I've always thought actually that we've played our cards up for the international break, and we've kind of not sacked them first 4 games off. That's the wrong terminology, but not put too much emphasis on those 4 games in terms of results. I think our season in our minds, when they come back with the injuries that they had in pre-season, our season starts on Saturday, and I think we're going to see that. Hate these early kickoffs; they're never high scoring, so I can't really be going for high scoring games like I've done earlier in the season. So we'll just go with the last time Luton won there, 2-0. Be the same again. Someone's going to have to step up in Harry Cornick's boots, whoever that may be. Hopefully, someone does that, and Luton win 2-0. Let us know your score predictions, as always. If you get any right scores, we'll give you a shout out. We'll mention you, though, if you get the result right. So 2-1-1s for Linus and James, 2-0 for myself. Let us have your scores. But that's not the only sport in action from a Luton persuasion this weekend. We invited Linus onto the podcast because you are involved in an English title fight on Saturday night. York Hall, lovely venue for boxing. Absolutely love going there and watching fights against Dan Catlin. What can you tell us about your opponent, Linus?
Yeah, good operator. You know, he's really solid fighter. Very, you know, basic, not in a disrespectful way. He just does everything. He doesn't really, in my eyes, he doesn't really do anything wrong. He just kind of, you know, very standard, very good operator, very strong as well. His record suggests that. I think he's got a 50% knockout ratio, and funny enough, so have I. So yeah, so but yeah, no, he's a good operator. I know exactly what I'm going up against, and you know, I've been doing this a long time. I've been English champion before. This is nothing new to me. He's nothing new to me. My head's in it. I'm locked in, and you know what? I've been excited for fights before. Fought for the British title. I fought for a WBA International. I fought for a lot of titles before, and like I'm genuinely excited. I've genuinely got the buzz. You know, I've had a bit of lulls. I've had a bit of like stagnating lulls. You know, for various reasons in my career in the last like 2 years. But you know, I haven't been up for a fight like this in a while.
That is good to hear. Yeah, 10-1 record for Catlin going into this fight. Generally sort of improved in standard of opponent as he's gone along. So you're definitely, in terms of record, the best opponent that he's come up against. What are you making of it, Jimbo?
I think it's a very winnable fight for Linus, and obviously he's been there and done that before with this particular belt. It's good to hear that you're well up for it. What do you think's the difference this time?
You know, I'm trying to get a lot of momentum. I'm seeing a lot of people that I fought and they're just going on like, you know, Tyler Denny, he's gone on to have an absolute great run, like just beating opponent. Like, one of my mates, he beat Brad, who just won the British title, and now now Tyler's a European champion. Denzel Bentley, since we fought for the British, he's fought maybe like 6 times. You know, he's lost some, he won some. Now he's a WBO international or European champion, and I'm just like, when can I get at the bit and get that momentum going? And it's been so inconsistent, and this fight is one of those fights where winning this and winning it in good fashion really sets me up to go on that run now, and I think that's what I'm really excited about. You know, a lot of, even when I fought Kieran Conway, that was the same thing, and then I got an injury mid-fight and it kind of slowed me down, and then had a comeback fight literally 6 weeks later, came back in and then tried to get something, and then I got bronchitis straight after, and that put me out for like 4 months. And it's just like, come on, can I just get a run going? Do you know what I mean? And it's just, I feel like this is now that time. This is now that time. I'm pretty sure I'm entering into that point in my life. I'm 31 now, entering into that point where it's just, yeah, foot down, let's get to the pedal, let's get biting at it, and let's just get rolling. Because I've seen too many common people, and even just I'm seeing everyone around me move forward, and I'm just kind of like, what's going on? Why am I still stood here?
Was it that injury, the eye injury, the really serious one? It was against Kieran, was it?
Yeah, that was Kieran Conway, yeah.
I mean, that sort of thing must, for a boxer, really take a lot of recovering from, does it? I mean, the swelling must go down, but is there the threat of that again? Or?
It's always in the back of your mind. But after that fight, you know, as it happened, you know, play by play as it happened, and like I blocked a shot, and I think like the tape of the glove like scratched my face, and we're kind of moving into it, and you know, just kind of moving around, and then I can just subtly feel it getting bigger and bigger, and I was thinking, that doesn't feel right. I think it's a little mouse. I'm pretty sure it will stop soon. It won't close my eye or anything. Oh, I blinked and that was it. It just shut, and I was thinking, oh, okay, sat down. I went, oh, my coach will get it down. It's not a problem. And then as he was like touching it and doing, I could feel him touching it, and I was thinking, no, it doesn't hurt, so I don't think anything's broken. The first thing I thought was, is it my audible bone? Is it, what's going on? Is this? And then the ref stopped it, and I was like, okay, that's a bit shit, but I get it. I looked at myself in the screen, and I went, yeah, I would have stopped it as well. So I'm not that bad. Went to the doctors in the back room, and they were just checking me out, and they were like, yeah, we don't know what's happened. Like, nothing's broken, and yeah, it just looks like you've had an allergic reaction. And I was just like, come on, tell me something else. Like, and they were just like, yeah, we don't know what to tell you. And then, yeah, it went down in like 2 days. I had some redding, some blood, and some bruising. And yeah, that was it. And then I had a fight after. And then, you know, in the back of your head, I always thought, oof, if I get hit and then it happens again, then what? But yeah, that was fine. I've been sparring. I haven't, you know, touch wood. Nothing's happened, but it's something that comes in the back of your head. But the goal is to not get hit. So let me just try not to get hit there again.
You mentioned sparring. Training camp gone well?
Yeah, really well. Everything's gone right. I can't complain. Yeah, you know, look, not every training camp's perfect. There's been some ups and downs. There's been some times where it's just been absolutely rubbish. There's been some times where it's just literally I'm just going along with emotion, and it's just times like if anyone says to you, "Oh, it's all just been perfect," they're lying to you. And it's yeah, there's sometimes I wake up sometimes and I've been like, ugh, I really don't want to go in today. I don't want to do this. I don't want to drive to Essex and then fight and then this. Today I just can't be asked. I just really don't have it in me. But you just got to pull it out. And yeah, but no, my training camp's been pretty good. It's been like not too many things have gone wrong. It's been hard. It's been very hard, but my coach has been behind me, and we've kind of just got this right. A lot of things have happened in a sense of like just life events have been happening. I've been very busy, but I've been able to navigate it all and still be able to competently and confidently get to this point now where I'm only 3-4 days away from making history. So
you were talking to an elite level person who can't be asked, so I completely understand how that feels. That's for sure. We're going to give you the win on Saturday. What happens after that? How quickly can we get you back to sort of British title level?
I don't want to, walk too far away from Saturday, but I think if we can get, like, I'm really trying to be active this year. So if we can get the win, well, when we get the win on Saturday, I really would like. It's wishful. I'd like to get out in December or February and just maybe defend it or see what opens up, see what opportunity opens up, and then kind of just jump at things and start rolling. But I reckon we could probably get a British by. Pardon me. We can probably get a British by June, I reckon.
Because these are really sort of exciting times for British boxing at the minute, aren't they? Because it's obviously the Saturday after you fight, Anthony Joshua fights Daniel Dubois, huge card at Wembley. It's going to be a lot of attention on that. And then once that's finished, the build up to Usyk Fury is going to be manic, and these are great times for kind of boxing fans, boxers. There's lots of money in and around it and everything. So I mean, if you can get yourself on a roll and start building those titles up, I mean, the opportunities could be endless given the profile that British boxing's about to sort of explode into.
Yeah, massively. There's so much there, since Riyadh season, and the Saudis have come and really injected not only money, but they've really given us the fights we wanted. They gave us a lot of the fights we wanted, and it's what we want to see. All we want to see is the best fight the best. And the Saudis have really done that and really reignited something that we all just thought weren't going to happen. Usyk, Fury, like all of that. Who thought that was going to happen? They thought there was going to be a lot of messing around before that happened, but here we are. Do you know what I mean? And it's they've given us a lot of fights. Beterbiev, Bivol as well. At some point in end of this month as well, I think.
I think start of October, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good fights. So just in boxing in general, world boxing in general, Riyadh season deserve a massive shout out for like what they've done as well. But yeah, it's an exciting time right now, and like you said, if I can just get on a roll, get this win over the line in an impressive fashion as well, I could really put my name in a hat to kind of jump into that mix again. I believe I'm in the top 10 in the country, and I just need to show everyone that and really kick the door down, because no one's just going to open it for me. So I really need to, this Saturday, I really need to impress and show why I belong up there.
Domestically, though, the middleweight division that you're in is pretty stacked at the moment. There's a lot of big fights that you could possibly have, and I know your stablemate and one of your best mates is Brad Pauls. Obviously, went and won the British recently. He's still got that, hasn't he?
Yeah. So still got that, and WBA International as well.
I mean, at some point, do you have to fight him?
No. We wouldn't. No, we wouldn't have to fight each other. No, we got the same coach, and who would he corner? But no, we wouldn't have to fight each other. He's, I don't know what the crack is. I think he's ranked in the top 10 or top 15 in WBA International. So there might be a world route opportunity for him. So if he relinquishes about that, puts me in a good position to then go and compete for it. But obviously, right now, all I'm thinking about is getting this fight over the line. But you're right, yeah, it's very stacked. We've still got Bentley, Shiraz, Denny, Brad, everyone's all in the mix. Even Nathan Heaney, he was just the ex-British champion. He's not out of the mix yet. There's still a lot of names out there. And right now, I just need to worry about where I am and get this English title to then propel me back into the mix. There's when you're rebuilding, you can't just jump straight back sometimes. You have to kind of go here to then shoot back to where you should be, and that's what I feel was happening, and I really have an opportunity to really propel myself back up there.
Jordan Reynolds, that's a name. It's a Luton name. He's in your division, and he's probably had a similar sort of path at the moment. There's not as many fights happening for him at the moment, but you're sort of both looking to build up. So is that a fight that happened somewhere along the line?
Get it on a power court.
Yeah, it's been talked about. It's been talked about a lot. If it's something that where we're both in that situation and it makes sense, then yeah, great. But for me right now, it's not really one that makes sense for me. But yeah, it's a fight that in power court, I believe it has to happen regardless of who it is or where it's on. I want to be, obviously selfishly, I want to be headlining that with fighters like Jordan and Frankie Story, Tycee Gallagher. There's a lot of fighters here, and I want to be obviously mainlining that and making that happen and moving forward. So it's definitely not a conversation that is not going to happen. But I personally, I want Kenilworth Road. I want that before we move. I'd love that before we move.
You cover a load of Luton boxing on the Lutonian website. I mean, you would love a all Luton card at Kenilworth Road, or even in Power Court down the line, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, I was going to mention that since you brought it up as well, like Frankie and Ticey, because they're Luton fighters as well. And Frankie went and won the Southern Area title recently, and the week after you fight for your title, Ticey Gallagher defends her crown, British crown, which is that was history making when she won that as well. So it seems a bit of needle from the other side in that fight, whereas Ticey just going about her business in a very calm way. But what have you made of her? Because she's had some massive fights of late.
Yeah, she's a phenomenal, not just boxer, but just a person. Like, I've met her a good few times now. I'm friendly enough with her. She's just a lovely girl, and what she's doing is massive for Luton, not just for boxing in general, but the amount of, like, I see a lot of we do a lot of things together. We do a lot of events and things like that. We'll go to events and we'll be at the same thing, and how just little girls that want to get into sport, not just boxing, but just want to get into sport. She's really a massive role model, because these girls really look up to her, and they're just like, look at what she's done. She's made history. Look at what she's done. She's done this, and she's just like me. Came from the same place as me. I can do it too. Do you know what I mean? And it's massive to see that, because in Luton, not a lot of people have a lot of perceptions about Luton and things like that, but it's so nice to see her front running for women in boxing, women in sport in general, just in Luton, because it's a sporty town. We get a lot of guys doing things: football, boxing, kickboxing, karate with Jordan Thompson, and things like that. And just what she's doing is it's massive, and I've got all the time in the world for her.
Because you both do bits and pieces for Boxing Saves Lives, don't you? Which is originated in Luton, so shout out to those guys. So there's a lot going on in the boxing world. I remember, strangely enough, I remember many years ago going up to the academy up near on Old Bedford Road, or New Bedford Road, near the Storm Gym. It's not there anymore. The old amateur boxing place. I went there to interview. Do you remember Michael Devine?
Yeah,
years ago. And Ticey was there. She was, as a very young girl, she was the only girl like sparring against a bunch of boys, and obviously that stands out because it's a girl, and she was wearing glasses, and her name was Ticey, which is a bit like Tyson. I was like, so you sort of remember it, and it was only like years later, it was like, oh, she's grown up now. She's the British title. So it's remarkable what can happen, but it's a wonderful story of hers, and hopefully she can go on to world titles, because obviously she did have a world title fight that she had to go over to France for, and I'm told that was quite a tight one, and I think they went with the home fighter on that one, really, which can happen very frustratingly in boxing, but let's hope her and you can do the job properly and get stoppages. That would be the ideal, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it could definitively just place it out. Yeah, that's what we're aiming for anyway. Luton couldn't have a better role model in Ticey. You know what I mean? She's a great person, and Frankie as well. Very good people, and I have a lot of time for them.
Yeah, don't take yourself off that list as well, because you're great for Luton as well, and it's fantastic that you're back in the ring and doing big things. We'll save you from predicting the fight, but me and James will do as a little score prediction. So what are you going for, Jimbo?
I reckon he stops him in 5. That's what I'm going for.
How pessimistic is that, man?
Yeah.
I reckon it's a round quicker. 4th round stoppage for Linus in that fight.
I reckon you were just going to go around quick or whatever I said.
First round. No, before the fight.
Listen, whilst he's sat next to me, I'm always quicker than what you were saying. Yeah, let us have your predictions actually for Linus's fight, and if you get it right, we'll give you a shout out after, when we do the review of the Millwall game, which will be out usual time next week. Linus, it's been absolutely fantastic having you on. Is there still tickets left for your fight?
Yeah, still a couple. Ringsides are sold out. VIPs are sold out, and there's only a few ringsides left, maybe like 8. But the standards are still available.
Just rock up on the door.
Go through the go through my website.
Get the website.
Yeah,
give it a plug.
Just about www.luboxing. So LUBXNG.com.
We'll link it in the show notes to the podcast.
Excellent, because obviously early kickoff on Saturday. So if you're not kicking about, not in a rush to get back, get yourself down to York Hall, Bethnal Green, East London, and see the man here knock out and his way to the English title. And we've got full confidence in you, in you, mate, and wish you the best of luck for that fight.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much for coming on the podcast, Linus. We really do appreciate it. Thanks to you for watching or listening, however it is that you've consumed this podcast. That is it. Let's hope that the town are celebrating 2 victories on Saturday from the boys on the pitch and Linus in the boxing ring on Saturday night. Thanks very much to the Barber Club and the Lower Level in Luton for hosting our studio, to Sean Grant and the Wolfgang for our intro music, and to Ed Smith Creative for all the designs that you see on our set. Until next time, which will be a review of, as I say, hopefully 2 wins for Luton on Saturday. Until then, from James, Linus and myself, come on you Hatters, we can all do this.
For me, it's the people and the spirit of the people as well.
I love this town. I love this town. I love this town. You know what I love about this town is actually you. Everyone in it has got this massive soul.
We're Luton people, and that's what we care about.
Oi, not on my watch.